Hi everybody, John Lunn here, aka Johnny Chips. Today I'm going to have a quick little look at Azure Arc and just investigate how we can get that to incorporate our on-premise servers. So yeah, hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. Just thought I'd concentrate really on looking how we could get Azure Arc set up in our Azure Portal to monitor a couple of on-premise VMs. Let's just have a little delve in to see exactly what that looks like and understand what do we actually need to do to onboard servers into Azure for monitoring and policy setting with Azure Arc. So I'm going to jump straight in. So I've already signed into my Azure Portal and really just had a little click around. I've got a couple of subscriptions we can have a little play with. And just to set the scene, I've got two on-premise servers here. So I've got one here, which I'll just flash on the screen as my little domain controller, just sat up in a Hyper-V cluster on my machine locally here. And I've also got another machine that I'm going to call my little file server. As you can see, it's called FS801. So what I'm going to have a little run through now is just investigate Azure Arc. So straight from the Azure Portal, let's you can either do a little search up here in the top, just search for Azure Arc or Arc. Let's click on that and just have a little read through the Get Starting guide. So what it's telling us is that we can govern and manage all of our infrastructure anywhere. So Azure Arc extends the Azure management tools to on-premise, multi-cloud environments and the edge. So Azure becomes a single pane of glass for managing all your infrastructure and running Azure data services anywhere you need them. And there's no charge to get started. That sounds good to me. So if we click down here and just have a quick look at the pricing, what it's telling us here is that we can extend the controls that we get from Azure straight into our on-premise infrastructure at no additional cost. That's great. It includes things like resource organization through using management groups and obviously tagging within Azure. We can search and index using the resource graph. And we can access and use security through RBAC with the subscriptions that we've got. Environments and automation through templates and extensions, that's pretty cool, and any update management. So we get all of that kind of no additional charge, that's great. So what it's actually telling us here now is that if we were to switch on things like Azure Monitor or the Security Center or any policy or additional automation, so there are some costs which we can click there. I mean, we can have a little look later on, but for now, I'm really just interested to see how we can onboard a couple of servers into Azure Arc. So from the Get Starting page within the Azure Portal, I'm going to click on this little button here. We've got add an existing infrastructure, we've got data services, and we've got other options to view our resources. And I believe at the moment, some of the other services, such as data, yeah, they're in preview, which is great. So they're all in public preview. We might touch on those in a later video potentially, but for now, I think, and the Kubernetes clusters and obviously SQL servers, they're in public preview at the moment. So that's great to see. So I think for now, I'm going to stick with the traditional. Let's just see if we can add some existing physical or virtual machine from our on-premise environment. So we're going to click on add. Let's have a look at the prerequisites. So first off, we need some internet access to our VMs or our physical kit, and we need some local admin permissions to onboard the server. That's great, I've already got that. And then to manage a server in Azure, we need an existing resource group. That's great, because just before this I set up a separate resource group that we'll pick on as we go through. So let's click next, resource details. Let's just have a little look, see what we've got. So that's the subscription that I'm going to use. The resource group I'm going to use is my Johnny Chips -Arc that I set up earlier. So being in the UK, I believe that Arc is limited to certain data centers. So yeah, I can see that we've got UK South. We've not got UK West in there, which UK West is probably about 5 miles down the road from me in Newport. So I'm going to pick on UK South for now. We're going to concentrate on Windows machines for now, although I do have a little Raspberry Pi with a Linux build on it. So I might have a little look at that again in a future video. And proxy. So my environment, there's no proxy settings, but of course it looks like if we do have some proxy settings, we could specify those in here. So I think we're good on that page. Let's click next, tags. Okay, so it's populated some specific tags for us here that we can fill in some values on. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to call my data center Johnny Chips. I'm going to put my city as Newbridge. And that is in the wonderful county of Caerphilly, if I could spell that right. And that is in, oh, not Wales. Yeah, country or region. Yeah, it is Wales. Of course it is. I know I live in Wales. Yeah, that'll do for now, I think. I mean, you can, obviously, the point of tagging, you can add all sorts of things in here. Predominantly, they're used for things like cost management and stuff like that. So if you've got requirements, it looks like you can set whatever tags you like in there before we onboard the servers, which is pretty cool. So next, download and run the script. Okay, so what do we got to do first then? Register a subscription before connecting your servers to Azure Arc. So select the button or follow the link for the registration. Okay, let's click on register. See what we get. There we go. It's going to tell me it may take several minutes, which is understandable. That's fair enough. So we've just refreshed the page and the first task is done. So we're going to download this configuration script now. And we are going to go jump straight onto one of our servers. So let's go onto our domain controller and take a copy of that script and just paste it here on the desktop. So in theory, we should be good now to just jump straight into PowerShell. I'm going to run it as local admin. And let's just get onto the desktop and let's hit that script to run. And let's leave that run for a minute or two and check back when that's installed. To sign in, use a web browser to open the page here. So I think we might need to just run our Internet Explorer to make sure that we actually got some internet on this server, which hopefully we should do. Okay, great. And it's okay. Let's try that a different way then. So device login, sign into your account. So let's take that code. I'll just type it in for now. So we've got DYU TB Q4MT. I'm going to hit enter there. You'll be signed into the Azure Connected Machine Agent on a remote service or service. Select back if you are trying to sign in. I am. So I'm going to use my, I presume, my Azure logon. If I can get that right. And I've got MFA enabled on this account, so I'll wait for that call to come in, which there it is. I'm going to hit my hash key and we should be in. Okay. You may close this window. Thank you. Let's see if that continues to move any further forward. So we've got successfully onboarded resource to Azure. We've got the ID of the VM. And to view your onboarded servers, go to the portal. Super. Okay, I think before we go to the portal, what I will do is let's kick off the install on the other server that I've got. So let's go over to the file server and let's do the same thing. So we've got our file server. I'm going to take a copy of the onboarding script, just put it there on the desktop. Of course, you know, this could be done via System Center Config Manager or at a locally run script that people can onboard manually, whatever you need to do within your organization. So I'm going to run PowerShell as administrator. Just get into that folder on the desktop and let's, oh, maybe not just out, onboarding script. Let's run that. I think again that's going to take a couple of minutes. We should see the installer, the agent installer, appear on the desktop here with a log file. So let's give that a couple of minutes. And now we can see the Azure The connected machine agents appeared. That would be in the same folder as where you've run the script from. So in my case, I've just run it directly from the desktop of my machine. So we've got the agent installer MSI appear there on the desktop. And we've also got this installation log file. So there we go. We're getting the same message we had before. So it takes a few minutes, which it has done. Internet is there. It's asking me to browse to that location. So let's go there. HTTPS. So we did have a problem with the root. So let's just go to www.microsoft.com/device login. There we go. Let's wait for that web page to come up, and it's going to ask us to enter our device code to authenticate this agent into our Azure subscription for Azure Arc to be able to monitor it. So we have to log on first with our subscription owner or contributor. Oh no, it's not. It's going to ask us to log in just to pass the code. There we go. So we're going to use our code to reference the machine. So DDX9J9XFJ. We're going to hit next. It's going to ask us to sign in now. So I'm going to use my Azure credentials. And it's going to ask me to log on with my password. And this account is MFA enabled, so just wait for that phone call to come in. There it is. I'm going to answer it. I'm going to hit my hash key to approve the signing. And there we go. We've now signed into the Azure Connected Machine Agent application on the device. We can close this window. Thank you very much. So there we go. That took all of about 3 or 4 minutes, I guess, from start to finish. So that's both machines. I guess now there's a little cleanup exercise if you wanted to do that. So I ran this from my desktop. So I've got this MSI, I've got this log file. We can have a quick little look through this log file to see what information it tells us. Just make that a little bit bigger. It's a typical log file. I suppose if we were to search through this for anything specific, it'll pick up notes. But I guess near the end, if I can scroll to the end. I made it too big now, haven't I? There we go. We should probably see something like installation succeeded or some form of a success message. There we go. That looks good to me. So we've got a message there. Installation completed successfully. It's deferring the cleanup of any packages or files. Great. Okay. And then login stopped. Fine. Just a very simple log file there. That's great. Okay. So in that case, I've got both my machines now registered via Azure Arc. If I fire this, my Azure web page or my Azure Portal back up, I'm on Azure Arc on servers. I'm going to click refresh here, and there we have it. We've now got 2 machines listed in my Azure Arc servers page. So I guess from there it's a case of let's just click on one and see what we can do with it. So we can pretty much manage this now. I mean, one point to note there, we've got our tags that we set as part of our script. We can see we're running what the operating system is. So yeah, I'm running 2016 standard evaluation licenses on my 2 VMs. Versioning, it's got the agent version there. All good stuff. So what can I do? So we can run some update management. We can look at some logs. We can look at some monitoring. Remember, these things here, if we were to enable some of these things, they would incur costs. So for now, I could potentially use things like extensions, or just look at the property. I could potentially apply some policy. Again, that may incur some costs. But there we have it. So just a quick download, a script, and we've onboarded 2 virtual machines that are in my on-premise data center directly into Azure Arc for management. I hope you found that useful. If you do have any feedback or information that you'd like to pass on to me, please do. Just one other quick point. If we browse to the documentation on the Microsoft Docs website, really just to look at how do we scale this. So how do we, rather than having to go to an individual VM or physical appliance and manually run and install a script and log on and type our username and passwords. What options do we have to scale that? So if we go to this web page, we can see that there's some really good guidance on that. So it talks around setting up the service principal. So really creating a service principal that can be used by that script to onboard multiple VMs at scale, rather than having to have some interactive session with that VM or physical box and tapping that username and password like you saw me do. So like I say, if you look down that article, just scroll down, we can see that there's still the same process, installing the agent and connecting to Azure, but now rather than using a username and password interactive through that script, we've got this concept of injecting that service principal ID and the secret that goes along with that in the script itself. So basically, you can install this agent onto multiple VMs if you've got hundreds or even thousands that you need to onboard to Azure Arc with really minimal effort. But for now, I've been Johnny Chips. Thanks for watching my video, and hopefully you'll come back soon. Thanks again.